Jesus freak here. So I thought I'd sort of cover how I got into the anti-cult stuff, which has pretty much been sort of in the back of everything I've been doing for almost 20 years at this point. Back in 2008, there were some anti-Scientology rallies around the world. And this is where I started to learn about cults more broadly speaking. Groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses. See, I was raised a United Methodist. I'm still a United Methodist. We're about as middle of the road as you get. And I don't know if it's my autism or what it is, but you look at a lot of those techniques you see in, like, NAR type churches, even more broadly, some of the stuff that's associated with Pentecostals. And, you know, it might get people up and moving. It might provoke certain kinds of reactions in most people. Some of these techniques, you could say, border on the hypnotic, mesmerism. This is more, NAR than mainline Pentecostal. In NAR churches, they tend to be used to shut your brain down so you don't start questioning that the guy in the pulpit is saying some weird stuff that doesn't line up with Scripture. I mean, these same techniques might be used in other churches, but not with the explicit intent of mesmerism. But these techniques, to me, they just make me feel physically ill. So, whatever these methods are, they don't work on me. But that's not the whole thing. You see, I've observed that throughout the centuries, when a church loses track of the fact that we're here to win souls and not take over the world, well, by force. Live by the sword, die by the sword, comes from what Jesus told Peter when he cut off Malchus' ear. When any group professing to be Christian gains levers of power, who's the first group they turn it on? Other people who profess to be Christians. And I'd seen this, push within certain circles, and you can find that they are pretty much interconnected. Your C. Peter Wagner types, your Bill Gothard types, even your Steven Anderson types, which would deny that. That a lot of these groups are interconnected. And it's like, you keep finding more and more connections. You got Paul White, you got Greg Locke, and these are sucking up to Han Hakja, the so-called true mother from the Moonies cult. It's like all these cults seem to be connected to each other. Even Jonestown is directly connected to Branhamism, and pretty much all these New Apostolic Reformation groups could also tie to Branhamism. William Branham. Now, there's another real wiener. But I saw this threat. As this certain subset of evangelicals was seeking power for power's sake and thought they could control Jesus' return. And it set my alarm bells ringing. Now, when I first let people know, I felt it was like Cassandra, no one believed me. But now you're seeing these same people in the halls of power. Pushing for the end of the world. And utilizing the United States government to try to get that end of the world. Like, we get a 5-alarm fire here. And it all goes back to the corrupted gospel that a lot of them are pushing, or that a lot of them are buying. I guess that's where I see myself as trying to warn people about that. The funny thing is that my particular stance has put me as much in line with people fighting this from the atheist side, or from, the deconstructed side. Some of them might still be Christians like I am, as from the openly Christian and even evangelical side, and even other Pentecostals, which I'm not. But, NAR is Pentecostal. So on one side, you're seeing me occasionally, showing up in circles like Owen Morgan, who's the one who introduced me to the bite model, and Stephen Hassan. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness who is now considered a suppressive by the Jehovah's Witnesses. And then you have Suris, who's someone who grew up in like independent Baptist type circles, went to that fundamentalist private school in Pensacola. And then on the other hand, here I am, and I show up in the chats for people like The Unction or Ohio for Freedom or Megamaniacs. I happen to have a mission that jives with both groups. So, that's my dog in the fight. Jesus, freak out.